Welcome to How's Your ePresence? This show was produced by ePresence, and I am Mark Galvin, the founder and CEO of that firm. We are coming to you live from remote locations. Yes, this is an additional podcast that we are launching today, and the goal here is to share good quality information in between our larger Business Radio X shows. Because, let's be honest, there's so much that goes on out there in the social media world. We can't hit it every single time when we're doing one or two podcasts a month. So the mission is now to share smaller snippets. So if this is in your feed, don't be alarmed as we're showing up a little more frequently than normal. Our mission is to drop a podcast once a week. So every once in a while, you'll see our 30-minute podcasts, and then you'll catch a few of these in there in between, which will be, 10, 15 minutes. So welcome to How's Your ePresence? So this is a show designed to help business people do social media better. So we're going to try to constantly share great quality content that'll help you do social media a little better in your businesses and allow you to get a little better ROI from your social media. So why are we here today? What's the big urgent news that we want to share with you? Well, here's what's going on. I need to introduce you to someone. This is important. We have, if you've been listening to the feed, you'll heard from the last couple of shows, either the last one or the one before that, where I introduced you to Eric Welch. Eric, I know you're there. Say hello.
Hi, Mark.
So, Eric, welcome. Eric, you are joining ePresence and as the director of social media. And you and I are both sitting in the same city, but sitting in front of computers. And I appreciate you finding time to join us today. So here's what we were at a meeting this morning, and we were talking about social media posting. And we had a group of 20 people we were chatting with. And one of the things that came up in this conversation was a question about the difference between impressions and engagement. And you have a long background with a media firm, Fox Sports. Tell me, what does that mean to you? What's the difference between engagement and impressions?
The biggest difference to me, and I put more weight with engagement than I do impressions, although impressions are important still. But engagement basically means that the person who is following you sees your content and reacts to it and does something with it, whether it's sharing it or reposting or commenting or liking it or just having some sort of action to your post. An impression.
So hold on real quick before you move on. So an engagement means I've seen something that shows up on my social media feed. This is LinkedIn, this is Facebook, Instagram, you name it. And I engage with it. So I'm doing something with that post because I'm jazzed about it, or it's kind of created some sort of energy with me, which makes me want to say something. Is that right?
Exactly.
Okay, good. And then impressions, what's that?
Impression is just that your post was seen by someone. And using Twitter as an example, if you're on your phone and you're scrolling through Twitter, every tweet that you pass is getting an impression because technically you've seen it. You don't have to do anything with it. You've seen it. That kind of clicks off as an impression.
So this is important. I would think that an impression on Twitter is a lot less valuable than an impression on LinkedIn. Would you agree?
Yes.
Why?
In my opinion, it's because the way Twitter is set up, you just scroll through and there's so many tweets out there, it's not being absorbed. LinkedIn. It's
volume, right? It's
exactly.
How many people are saying stuff. I mean, Twitter is just rapid fire, which is so cool. Is what makes Twitter great.
Right.
But an impression on Twitter is sort of like yawn versus LinkedIn. If I've got 300 connections, that impression could be valuable.
Right. Because the content is usually a little more, I don't know if thoughtful is the right word, but people aren't just posting on LinkedIn a couple of words or a quick sentence or anything. There's usually more to it. So to get an impression, someone's going to pay more attention to it.
All right. So in Fox Sports, why was this important to you guys when you were there?
Because the goal there, and I would think with most companies, is you want to engage with the consumer and you want to have content that's compelling and connects with the viewer or your customer or whoever it is. So that's why I put more weight with engagement, because while it's great to be seen by a lot of people, you want to make the connection with them.
So there's a lot of the biggest challenge with social media, I think, in general, is creating good content that is engaging. And I guess that's where that word comes from, right? It's engaging because my audience, if I'm serving great content, wants to interact with it. It's always a struggle. Is there, if I'm a business guy trying to figure out how I'm pushing out my content to people and I want people to engage it, what can I do? What'd you do at Fox Sports to make something engage with people more often?
Well, at Fox, we would, we had various regions and cities that we were in, but not only Atlanta, but also Nashville, Raleigh, Memphis, Charlotte were
Okay.
some of the big ones. So we immersed ourselves in each of those cities to fully understand what connects with those fans of the teams there.
So
Because
there's something important here, and I'm gonna pause you. Not that I could actually pause you on the screen, but I'm not gonna do that. So what you're saying is you have to go into you went to those different cities, you understood the audience, and you spoke directly to those audience members, and that made them engage. Is that right?
yep, that's exactly right.
Okay,
Because
cool. Keep going.
what connects a basketball fan in Charlotte is different than what connects a basketball fan in Memphis. Um, and I would think the same would go across all genres and parts of life, where what connects with a tech company isn't going to be what connects with a restaurant audience.
So this is a basic, but it's so important to reinforce, and that is that number one, you can't speak to everybody, right? So Fox Sports, you're not interested in engaging someone that's looking for business news for business posts, right? You're focused on the people that want to see, like in Atlanta, the Hawks. If you're working on the Hawks, you're trying to engage the people that are interested in Hawks content and then say something to them, share some content that you know that they would want to respond to. I can't help but think there's an example. There was a guy that played for the Cleveland Browns who was called out by the fans because they didn't think he played well, and he said some things that were not very nice back. And I saw this post come up in my sports feed, and I did engage with it. I was like, "Oh my goodness, this is so interesting," and so I am interested in commenting and engaging on this because it was interesting. That's kind of what you're talking about, but it's and that's national. But if this happened with somebody from the Atlanta Falcons, because we're here in Atlanta, I would probably be more apt to say, "I think this is interesting," and hit a check mark on it, say, "I like it," because it's engaging to me. The guy that sits in, I'll tell you what, nobody cares about the Falcons in Denver. And so the Denver fans are not going to go on there and make a comment. So you understand your audience, focus on them and share content that's easy. On sports, it's easy, right? I'll tell you what, that's a breeze. But in business, that's hard. It's a little harder to figure how to nuance that out. So we wanted to share this with you because this type of information is so important. It's important to understand engagement and impressions. You also should know that engagement drives impressions. So if you have people liking a post, especially on LinkedIn, because the organic reach on LinkedIn is fantastic. If you don't know what organic reach is, go back and listen to a podcast 2 or 3 times episodes ago. We talk about that. But the organic reach is very strong on LinkedIn. So if somebody likes your post or comments on it, you're going to reach a lot more people. You'll get more impressions. So, is it typical, Eric, for the impressions and the engagement numbers to go up in a parallel format, or can you see one spike without the other?
Yeah, you can see impressions go up without engagement going up. Again, kind of going back to the Twitter thing, if a lot of people are seeing it, but they're not reacting to it, then
Interesting.
your engagement's not going up, but your impressions are.
Right. And what if someone gets a lot of isn't there something you said that you can get a lot of comments but no engagement? Explain that.
Yeah, that's getting in the Twitter world. That's getting ratioed, which means that you're not getting any or many likes or shares, but you're getting a lot of comments.
So I don't like it, but I'm going to comment on it because it makes me angry.
Exactly. So yeah, more times than not, if you like something, you're gonna share it or you're gonna like it.
Yep. Yeah.
You
I mean,
know,
I want you to see it.
yeah, exactly. You want to see that I like something or that I'm sharing it and I want to share it with my followers. But if it's something you disagree with, more times than not, you're going to comment and let that person know you don't like it. So what they call getting ratioed is when you have more comments than you do likes and shares.
So if I'm getting ratioed, what should I do?
You need to reassess what your content plan is,
Okay.
basically, and look at what your messaging is and make some adjustments because it's not working.
Yeah. I will tell you, if you're in business and you're engaging with an audience and you're sharing content that you're only getting negative comments on, but you're not getting any likes, that is a huge danger. If you have somebody managing your social media for you and you're getting ratioed, you need to find someone else to do that, because that should never happen in the business world. It just doesn't make any sense that you could say something so offensive and not realize it and end up getting ratioed. So if that's happening, that is a red flag. That is a warning that you should immediately react to, because number one, I would delete the post. I'd get rid of it, make sure no one can see it. And the other thing is make sure all of your other social media posts that have that same post have also had it deleted. Well, that's kind of the summary that we wanted to share with you guys today. Eric, is there anything else out there that's in this realm that we should be addressing?
No, not really. I think it's really important for folks to keep an eye on their engagement rate and look at those numbers and just keep an eye on it and adjust accordingly. Because again, the audience, their taste can change. You want to
Oh,
keep your
good point.
message consistent.
Good.
And if things start to turn a little bit and you don't react to it quick enough, you got to be nimble. And if you're not, you could before you know it, you could find yourself in trouble.
Outstanding. That's good tips. Well, that is our quick update for this week. So just a reminder, you're listening to How's Your ePresence, sponsored by ePresence, and you can find ePresence on the web at epresence.me. That's epresence.me, because it's all about you. And so for our quick update, this is Mark Galvin, and on behalf of Eric Welch, thank you so much for joining us, and we will talk to all of you guys very soon.